What is up, everybody? It's your boys back again with another episode of Franchise Tag Fantasy Football Podcast. Please be sure to leave a like, rating, comment, and subscribe on this video. We just covered the AFC East in the last episode, so this time it is going to be the NFC East here. We're going to get this one browse through, not necessarily quickly, but semi-fast. Not a lot of assets to talk about in this division outside of maybe two teams. Other than that, guys, please be sure to go check out some premium fantasy football forum over at Fantasy Football Advice Forum. They've got a pretty good little setup over there, and you will always hear real answers from real people with no spam in the comments. It's great. So, anything on the news? Pretty sure there's not.
Nope, nothing on the news.
Okay, so we will drop an episode of breaking news if breaking news happens this week because there are two big names that are on the move. So, for the NFC East, up first, the Washington Commanders. Their line is set to 6.5, and I'm probably going to be smashing the under on this one.
Yeah, this team is just abysmal. They have key pieces here and there to be a good team and compete, but it starts the biggest position in the NFL, which is quarterback. So they're rolling into the season with the complete confidence in Sam Howell. They signed Eric Bieniemy from Kansas City, and obviously it's not hard to look good when you coach the greatest quarterback in the league, but also Andy Reid is an offensive genius. So this will be the big test for him to see if he's a legit play caller or not.
Yep.
I think this team is in the running for Caleb Williams, Drake May sweepstakes for this upcoming draft class. So I think, hey, you got something to look forward to, at least in some aspect. So speaking of that, finding value is tough because you're relying on the play of an unproven second-year QB. But there's one player that sticks out to me, which is Jahan Dotson. I think Dotson can make a huge jump into the next season. He was a first-round pick last year, and he showed flashes of talent when he was on the field. He's going around pick 93, which is a late 7th. I think he'd be a potential creep into the wide receiver 2 area. I know it's, crazy to think that, but he is talented if you watched him play.
Yeah, I agree. My value pick, a little bit different than yours. My value pick this year would be Antonio Gibson on this team.
Okay. He's going, where is he at on my thing? He's at 92nd overall. Okay.
Yeah, so that's just me, though. I mean, and everyone was talking about, Brian Robinson is this, Brian Robinson is that. He didn't show very much last year. Antonio Gibson has proven already twice in his 3 seasons to be a top 12 for fantasy football purposes, fantasy football back. Yeah, we can talk about real divisions and real betting with the win percentages and stuff, but at the end of the day, this is a fantasy football show, and that is what we are here for. So I do think Antonio Gibson be quite a steal. Ron Rivera, too, also out of the last 3 years, the light bulb finally went off in his head and realized that he's a good pass catcher. So if he can be utilized right, which he wasn't in his first 2 seasons where he finishes RB10 and RB12, if he can be utilized right, I can see him not necessarily as a top 12 running back, but at pick, what did you just say, 92? If you can get a top 18 running back, you're happy.
Yeah. And the people that are going ahead of him are Pacheco, Montgomery, James Cook, AJ Dillon, then it's him. And then following him is his fellow co-partner, Brian Robinson, and then Jamal Williams and Rashad Penny. So he's on that cluster area.
Yep. I would much rather have Pacheco, you're going to have a lot of scoring potential, right, with Kansas City offense. But
they could be up by $1 billion and they just run the ball for the last fourth quarter.
James Cook, David Montgomery, Brian Robinson, I'm taking them over those 3 for sure. The other ones, yes, I could see some discussion.
Yeah.
But that'd be my value pick on the Commanders. So let's be mindful. We're still talking about the Commanders here at the end of the day. Yeah. Up next, we have the New York Giants. Their current win total is set at 8.5. That seems low, but I guess this division always kind of eats each other instead of everybody else.
Low in a sense of you think they get 9 wins for sure?
Yeah, I could see them easily getting 9 wins.
Yeah, they were 9-7-1 last season. So, yeah. Dable was, in my opinion, there's a lot of good moves last season, but Dable was probably the greatest offseason move for any team last season because he made Danny Dimes $160 million richer.
Yep.
They clearly outperformed expectations, and Dable's an amazing play caller. I think Buffalo did miss him in that stretch a couple of games. They did a decent offseason, traded for Waller, signed Paris Campbell, and they drafted the speed wide receiver Jalen Hyatt in the 3rd round from the University of Tennessee. There's just one glooming thing they didn't do, which is extend Saquon long-term. Instead, they franchise tagged him, and he's made it very clear he's not going to play under the franchise tag, which I understand for running backs, but RB is just not a premier position anymore. Look, they cut Devin Cook because they couldn't come to an agreement for money. I think running back is very expendable.
Yeah.
So valuing this team is a little interesting because everyone expects Darren Waller to lead the team in targets and receptions for this team, and he's going 65th overall. So 5th round is a little too rich for me with players like Deontay Johnson, Mike Williams, Rashad White going around him. A valuing pick for me is Isaiah Hodgins, who's right now listed as their wide receiver 1, and he's going at pick 203, which is basically the last pick in your draft. So you're going to get the wide receiver 1 for the very end, and he can just be competent, whether you need to start him or whatever, but I think he's going to outperform ADP by quite a bit.
Yeah. Do you have it a bit readily available? Where is Darius Slayton going?
Slayton, I did look that up. So Slayton is going, he is going 245th, so he's not even being drafted.
Yeah, he would be my value pick on this team just because him and Danny Dimes do have a history. He's I think the biggest bodied receiver that they have, so he could definitely line up on the outside for him. Even though he might not be the de facto one, he would still, 86% of snaps. That'd be awesome. You know what I mean? He'd still have a chance.
Yeah, and we're in the off season of football, and everyone's healthy and stuff like that. There is one thing though from this team is I guess Jalen Hyatt isn't doing so hot right now in the OTAs, so that's why it's a little interesting. And Isaiah Hodgins is actually doing pretty well from my understanding from what they've been reporting. So that's why I'm like, all right, I'll bite the news. I'm always with the healthiest I've ever been and strongest and fastest I've ever been. I'm all for it. So
yeah, I feel you. All right, so up next we have the Dallas Cowboys.
How about them boys?
Their current win total is set to 9.5.
What are you thinking?
Can we skip this part?
No, absolutely not. I am not a Dallas Cowboy hater, man. It does not bother me in the slightest.
It wasn't a catch. That's all I'm going to say. So, and in today's NFL, yes. Back then, no. Rules were back then, so get over it. Anyways, no, I do think that they'll be out of anyone this division. Them and the Eagles have
double digits.
Yeah, they're the two teams that will do double digits. The Commanders aren't going to get close, but the Giants will be
sneaky.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, this team looked really good last year. They're 12-5, and regardless of the hatred towards this team, like I get it. Everyone, they're fans. I lived in Virginia, so I was near the Commanders and everything else like that. I did experience like what like real Cowboys fans were like, and being around Texas and stuff like that. So I get it. But they do have aspirations of going to the Super Bowl, and they have the pieces for it. Let's be honest. They let go of their play caller and Kellen Moore, who landed a new gig in LA with the Chargers. So Mike McCarthy is now the primary play caller, and he's made it clear he wants to run the ball more. So maybe that's indicative of how he does things, and it's something he sees his team specifically can be better at with Pollard as their primary running back. But they made some decent moves this offseason. They traded for my boy Stephon Gilmore, so they now have a really good cornerback, and they also traded for Brandon Cooks, which will help their offense tremendously. They lost Dalton Schultz, but they added Titan Luke Schoonmaker. I think I said that name right, hopefully in the draft. And I think the value pick, Schoon. That's right. I forgot Schoon. I think the value pick for this team is Brandon Cooks, and he's going around pick 95 in current drafts. And I think he looked great in the past seasons with quarterback like Davis Mills throwing the ball. And I think Dak is an immediate upgrade for him. And I don't think 80, 90 receptions, 1,000 yards is out of the question for him still. He's only 29 years old. Everyone thinks he's way older than that, but he's the same age as Stephon Diggs.
He's been in the league 9 years, and 6 of those years he's finished as a top 20 fantasy wide receiver.
And
so,
I like him a lot.
I like Brandon Cooks a lot too. I think with McCarthy saying that he wants to run the football a lot more, yes, you can say that, and he only wants to do that so his defense can actually catch a break, so they're not just burning down the field. Their defense, because you saw it last year, defense got tired, teams started to come back late. Started to be more shootouts. Great for fantasy football, but for real football purposes, not so much. But I don't think that everything that they've done in this offseason it goes against running the football more, right? They signed Brandon Cooks. They got rid of Zeke. Like, they drafted a rookie tight end. Like, you know what I mean? Like, saying, hey, we'll probably be more of the same, but we're just going to say that we're going to run the ball more, So.
Yeah. So Tony Pollard's going at pick 23. So that's where he's at. So it's basically the very end of the second round. Are you reaching for him in most, best balls and everything else like that in other drafts you've done? Or are you?
I took him in a dynasty league in what round? I forgot what round I took him. It was late.
Third, fourth?
I don't know if I can see the draft board.
But Do you think he's valued correctly where he's at in
Yeah,
redraft?
probably. I mean, yeah, because Zeke was valued what, late second, early third, and he's got more juice in the tank than Zeke did.
So let me ask you, Tony Pollard or Brees Hall?
Brees Hall, I like the upside of the Giants better.
Okay. Najee Harris or Tony Pollard?
Tony Pollard, because I still don't know what Kenny Pickett is, and we know what Dak is.
Okay. All right. Well, that's what they're all like 23, 25, 27. So they're all like scattered right there.
It's fantastic. So yeah, so that's where I am on that one. You good on them?
I am good.
All right, last but not least is the Philadelphia Eagles. They made it to the Super Bowl last year, and this year their current win total is at 11.5. I think I would probably take
I'm taking the over.
Yeah,
I'm
I would
taking the
take the over on this one.
You go through their schedule, they should be favored in every single one of their games except for maybe going to Dallas, and then I think in Kansas City they won't be favored. So 2 out of the 17 games they're going to be underdogs, and it'll probably be like by a point and a half or by a hair. So
Yeah.
they have every chance to win every single game. This team was an offensive hold away from potentially winning the Super Bowl last season. Hurts took a big leap and was rewarded being the highest quarterback paid for a day or two until Lamar got paid. A.J. Brown trade was a huge plus for this team, and he put up elite numbers with Hurts under center. This team should have no problem going back to the Super Bowl this upcoming season. They once again killed it in the draft this offseason by selecting 2 top 10 talent guys in the first round and then trading for DeAndre Swift from Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
The value pick from this team is tough, though, because Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown are going in the top 20, and rightfully so. Devontae Smith isn't far from them, being in the late third, early third, fourth. So it only leaves a few guys that are of value, and to me, the biggest one that stands out is Rashad Penny. I get it. When he's healthy, this dude is elite, though. When carrying the football, he's going in the mid to late 8th round. So getting someone who's shown to put up RB1 numbers that late is a value to me.
Yep, I would agree with you on that one. Everyone's like, oh, DeAndre Swift this, DeAndre Swift that. I think they split more than people think that they're going to.
Swift is going 56 overall.
Yeah, I'm not taking that.
That's so. It's just too rich for me. Like you look at the players around him,
right around Tony Pollard, Najee Harris.
Yeah, well, it's not even that. No, not around there. But like he's got like it's Miles Sanders, Dameon Pierce, but like it's just like other players like Drake London, Christian Watson, James Conner. I think I'd rather have James Conner than DeAndre Swift. I think.
Who's the first running back you said? Miles Sanders.
Miles Sanders, Dameon Pierce.
I would much rather have Miles Sanders.
Yeah, J.K. Dobbins, Alexander Madison. Like it's just yeah. So I think that trade I think everyone just thought to the moon with DeAndre Swift being on the Eagles, and I don't see that. You getting him that early. You better hope he puts up some serious numbers.
Yeah. Yep, I would agree on that one. All right. Who do you have winning this division? I know we haven't done this yet, but I'm taking the Eagles.
I think the Eagles win. I don't only team that can really put, a damage to them is the Cowboys. Yeah. And I think the Eagles are just a superior team. They play the harder teams this year with obviously winning the division. They get the 49ers, they get the they get the Vikings, but I mean, it's really not that great because
as long as it's not on prime time, it might be
because the NFC is. I'm no offense, the NFC is just not as good as the AFC. So like facing those one teams, it's like because they get the Bucks, and the Bucks aren't. The Bucks are awful. Special. Yeah, so I think the Eagles have a better track to get to the Super Bowl.
I would agree. So with that, guys, please be sure to leave a like, rating, comment, and subscribe. Comment down at the bottom. Let us know what you guys think or just how dumb you think we are, because I'm sure this episode seems to bring out the most fans. Every year, the East brings out, the NFC specifically East brings out the most fans. They do have one of the biggest fan bases in football with the Dallas Cowboys. So tell us how you think we're wrong. We love hearing it. And if this gets cut into a TikTok clip, please tell us how you think we're wrong. We definitely love hearing that. But until next time, guys, we will see you later.